Hey, welcome back to another edition of Live from Lavender Town. Um, I'm just gonna get straight to the point. We need to get into these Chilling Rain packs. I need to desperately get into this meta. I need to get caught back up, and I'm not just behind on Chilling Rain. I'm behind on most of Sword and Shield since definitely since the base set. I did open up a number of packs from the base set, but I'm going to be opening up of a lot of the sets. It's going to be happening. We're going to kick things off here, opening up Chilling Rain. Um, I'm not going to open up all 100 of these packs right now in one shot. I am, however, going to open up all 100 of them over the next few videos, starting with the first 25 right now. So let's see if we can get, in the last video, I got a few Vs. Not all of them were super useful, but I did get Ice Rider Calyrex V Max. And I'm hoping to get, I would love to get more copies of that, some copies of the regular Ice Rider Calyrex V, as well as Shadow Rider Calyrex, Shadow Rider Calyrex V Max, and Galarian Zapdos. Any of the legendary birds would be great, among others. I just want to start filling things out, and I'm excited to dig right in. So without further ado, let's go for it. Okay. Starting things off, pack number 1. Let's see, still getting new stuff for plenty, even comments, surprisingly. Wouldn't expect that. You feel like the first handful of packs, you kind of mow through the comments. Not super huge fan of Doctor, unless you're like gambling that your opponent's gonna have a VMAX, and not all decks run Vs. So Zangoose, Reverse, plenty of those. Wow, what a way to kick things off. We've got a Tornadus V Max. It looks like a full art. I'm rarely am I a huge fan of colorless Pokemon. This is an awesome, piece of artwork though. It's got Blasting Wind, 2 colorless energy, 60 damage. Nothing super special, especially when you can't hit for weakness. And then Max Wind Spirit, it does take 4 colorless energy, and if there's a stadium in play, it does 120 more damage, then discard that stadium. This is similar to what Lugia EX had back in the day, and then it also had Arrow Ball, which did damage based on how many energy were attached to both active Pokemon. It's kind of sad that, yeah, obviously this has much more HP than that card did, but it doesn't even have that move, which was already not that great. It does have Max Wind Spirit, which in theory is better, 240 damage as long as there's a stadium. But again, you're not hitting for weakness. It's a VMAX. It's still a high energy cost. Not going to be a card that I'm going to build a deck around, but still a cool card to look at nonetheless. For sure. I cannot stop getting hits. I opened up 13 packs of this the other day and got 5 V/VMAX cards. How? How is that even possible? Alright, we're gonna bop on out of here and we're gonna keep grinding. Man, it'd be pretty difficult to follow that up, I'd say, so. I do love Okacheke's art style, I'm not gonna lie. Just watched PTCG Radio kind of did an overview of this new artist, and I mean, he does a phenomenal job. Nice to get this Peonia. I think I've gotten a few of those already, though. This is a Strika, and then okay, now we're down to regular rares. Right on. Yeah, there are still, of course, some non-Vs in terms of Pokemon that I want. Malamar looks super promising. Um, Antoine Boulet, I think, had an amazing Malamar deck. There we got that Flannery. It's could be a decent card. It's good to have, good to slot. Peony. Yeah, I mean, if you really need to do some trainer search, it could be useful. And Seviper. Antoine Boulet ran the new Malamar deck. It's a great card, and he dominated. He beat the deck that won um, the entire Japan Nationals, and then, but that was during like the preliminary phase, and then he made it, I think, to the final 16. Was just winning, 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 and then dropped out to go get vaccinated. What a baller move! I cannot even overstate how cool that is. Okay, welcoming lantern. Oh yeah, no, that could be handy to if you're playing a single strike deck for some recovery. And Aggron. So far, not getting much of what we're looking for yet. Oh, yeah, we'll keep going. So yeah, definitely like to play around with that Malamar. Oh, a lot of new commons and stuff. I like that Heracross art too. It's pretty, and that Grookey. It's very cute. Um, we got a Lucky Energy. Oh yeah, this is the one that allows you to draw a card if your Pokemon is knocked out. I'm just not super wild about it, to be honest. But I am wild about that Malamar, and this is the one that I was talking about. It's a great card. 120 HP, I would love it if it had just a little bit more, because there are a lot of things that deal exactly 120 damage, or 60, and then it'll get times 2 weakness with darkness. But it does resist fighting, which is really handy, because fighting is just always dominant. And it's got Rapid Strike Tentacles, which for a Psychic Energy, on a stage 1, it does 40 damage times the number of Rapid Strike cards you reveal from your hand, and then you shuffle them into your deck. You don't even discard them. You get to shuffle them back into your deck, which means as you're playing and using this attack, those cards are shuffling back into your deck. It's getting more and more condensed with Rapid Strike cards, which means you have more and more consistency as you play, which is phenomenal. That's just awesome. It's just an awesome card and a great foundation for a deck to build around it. So I would love to mess around with that. And I've had a little bit of delay in some of these pack openings here. But yeah. So far so good. That's definitely a card I wanted. And now I do have a playset of Path to the Peak based on my last opening. I got real lucky and pulled a lot of those. And then last but not least, yo, let's go! Galarian Zapdos V. Oh my god. Oh, I'm so excited to play this card. And I do not like fighting types as a general rule. They're so broken all the time. You have fighting, rock, and ground types all under one type, which means they can hit so many different things for weakness. But this is gonna be the one that I'm gonna play for sure. This is gonna be the fighting deck that I'm gonna actually play. 200 HP, pretty standard. It's got the ability Fighting Instinct, which makes it so that its attacks cost 1 less energy for each of your opponent's Pokemon V that are in play, which is really great. I mean, you can constantly, have your opponent be second guessing, should I put out this next Pokemon V? I'm just going to make his Galarian Zapdos V more powerful. And then it's got Thunderous Kick, which fighting triple colorless does 170 damage. And then before doing damage, discard a special energy from your opponent's active Pokemon, if they have one, of course. And again, and there's ways to lower that energy cost, not just the ability, but the ability will definitely help with that. This is a just awesome card. I'm super stoked. That is amazing. Oh man. And by the way, you might be able to tell, been dealing with the cold. I'm coming out the other side, I think. Unfortunately, Joanna's seems to be now really coming down with it. So I just love that artwork on that peony. That yeah, I was really hoping she would avoid getting sick from me. Echoing Horn is going to be potentially a niche card. I don't know that it'll see much play, but it could. There could be situations. And then Zebstrika. Yeah. Uh, so my voice is still kind of shot, and she's been having a rough go of it now, just in the last couple of days. Um, it's just there's not a lot of space in the apartment. We really tried to isolate from. Ooh, got that Avery. Um, yeah, I love this card because yeah, drawing 3 cards isn't all that great. Discarding Pokemon from your opponent's bench is pretty cool, but not like, oh my god, I'm going to build a deck around it. But having both of those things in one card, and knowing that there are going to be some decks that thrive on limiting the bench, that's a pretty dang good supporter. So I'm glad to finally get a copy of that. Honey is too situational. I wouldn't want to put many of those, if any, into the deck. Some Spiral Energy. That's the, yeah, special conditions. That's fine. Um, and then Scallop Feet. Yeah. Yeah, so I've been feeling bad for her. Really didn't want to pass this on to anybody. And I mean, I've been staying home, not really going anywhere if I absolutely don't have to. Just in general, just because of the pandemic. But, and I don't really need to. I go outside and take walks and things like that when I'm feeling well. But, you know, Fog Crystal is a great card. Search for Psychic Energy or a basic Psychic Pokemon, reveal it and put it in your hand, and then shuffle your deck. It's like a slightly better. Um, what was that card from like Ultra Prism or Forbidden Light, where you could draw a Psychic Pokemon? It's like a better version of that, but you had to discard for that one. Granted, you could pick up Psychic or Dragon, but with the upcoming set, maybe you would rather have that one, I guess. Now that I think about it, but it's still a really good card, especially for Psychic decks. So that's real handy to grab. Another Flannery, I'm happy about that. Um, Clara is a good card too. I'm glad to have some copies of that here. So no complaints there. And finally, Golurk. All right, so we're 10 packs in. Two hits, especially at Galarian Zapdos V, is just clutch. Plus, we grab that Malamar. I'd like to get besides Malamar, I would like to get. I think it's Lycanroc is another one that's very similar to that Malamar. Oh, I thought for a second I was going to get that. And the other one is I do want to get the new Inteleon. There's just Inteleon gets so much love in the TCG. They just keep rolling out good Inteleon cards. It's kind of ridiculous, but does seem to be the way for a lot of sets. The water starter seems to get more love. Granted, there've been um, some good grass type ones as well. Fire type is usually where you really don't see a too much love. Usually, it's just like, oh, this would be really great if I didn't have to, get to a stage 2. I mean, I guess that's the nature of all stage 2s, but I feel like the water types especially tend to make up for it more often than not. Okay, and nothing super crazy there in that one. Let's keep trucking along. I'm overall like I feel like this opening has already been a win. So Agatha's a good handy trainer to have for specific decks. So I'm not unhappy to pull one of those. This new Passimian is a great card. Um, and it's specific to Rapid Strike decks, so of course you would want to be playing one of those. But your Rapid Strike Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's bench Pokemon V and Pokemon GX. I don't know why they didn't just put, because most of these they just put any Pokemon with a rule box in here now. Just makes it simpler. But then it's weird, you still see some of these where it doesn't say that, and I find that to be odd. I mean, I don't think we're going to be moving beyond Pokemon V in the time that this stays in the meta. And I don't know that it would be risky to just put rule box, man. But maybe they don't want it to get banned and expanded if there's like situations with older cards. I don't know, with EXs and things. Anyway, I mean, this was really good to boost your bench damage. It's just real handy to have. Really, really handy to have. Obviously, specific to Rapid Strike. The one that comes to mind is the new Zero Aura V card, which I would love to pull one of those too. I love Zero Aura in general, and I'm glad that it gets love in the TCG. It's kind of a double-edged sword when Pokemon tend to like continually love on Pokemon and give them good cards. If it's a Pokemon that you really like, you're excited every time to see that Pokemon show up. But if it's a Pokemon that you don't really like, and then it's like, oh man, this new card has these great abilities or attacks, and I wish that they were on a Pokemon that I really, really like. Because if you like a Pokemon and it gets bad cards, it tends to be that they keep giving it bad cards, with some exceptions. But yeah, so it's like great if you have a Pokemon you really like and you know it's going to get some good cards in the next set and the next set and the next set. Unfortunately, not so great if you have a Pokemon that you really like and it's already historically gotten bad ones. But that's not a rule. I mean, there are exceptions, you know. Yeah. One that comes to mind, I guess, would be like in Sun and Moon era, they had a pretty good Kabutops and Almastar with some really handy abilities. And I mean, it's just not. I love Kabutops. It's one of my all-time favorite Pokemon. I know it's a very niche Pokemon. Um, it's not a Pokemon that has gotten an exorbitant amount of love in the TCG, so it was nice to see that like it could get a good card. Oh, another Pissimian. Good deal. Good deal. We're covering our bases here. Okay, we're getting down there here in the last handful of packs for part one, and I'm hoping we can get at least one more. You know, the standard rule is 1 and 6, and we were coming out the gates really well, but we've kind of slowed down a little bit in that regard. Another Avery, some real pretty art in this set, of course. Uh, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited about Evolving Skies. I think it's going to be phenomenal, and I feel bad. I always feel bad when there's a set that is that exciting for people, and then the set before it is like, well, this has our signature legendary from the newest game, and now they do this though. I mean, is the same thing with Ultra Prism when it came out. Um, it had Ultra Necrozma, which is a great card, a phenomenal card, just like Shadow Rider Calyrex. But then it was like 2 sets later, and suddenly we were rolling with team ups, and it was just like that. Just all got left behind. Everybody got hyped on the team ups. Man, now we have an abundance of Path to the Peak, and we're getting Drizzile, so we feel like we should be getting Inteleon, but we just get some Strika. The monsters. And that set came before. The set that came after that was the one that had Rayquaza. I don't know why I'm like blanking on the name. And again, Path to the Peak. Oh my god! Another Galarian Zapdos V. Holy cow, what an opening. I know we're not getting an abundance of Ultra Rares here, but Galarian Zapdos V times 2. Like this is a sign, I need to be building this deck, for sure, and I will be. I promise I will. There's going to be a lot more deck building on this channel. There hasn't really been any, and just I'm gonna definitely be playing, like, and showing videos of me playing. I've always said that I wanted to do that, and then I've like shied away, a little nervous to do it, because I'm not the greatest player. I think I'm pretty good, all things considered. Like for an average player, I'm pretty knowledgeable about, or I'm pretty strategic in the way that I. Hey, and a Lipard V. This card, I think it's one of those because we do have Tool Scrapper. I mean, granted, it is easier to search for a Lipard V than it might be to search for a Tool Scrapper, but it does the same. It's the ability Hidden Claw, discarding the tool. Shadow Ripper, it's a little too much energy for the amount of damage it outputs. I do like that you get to put it into your hand after you attack if it would have like damage onto it, but I mean, it's not the greatest card, but I think in a year if Tool Scrapper goes away and tools become really prominent and you need a way to get rid of them, this could be a card you see flying around. So that was all in all. We made up for the low hit rate in the middle there, and managed to pull down 4. So that's pretty sweet. But yeah, I've shied away. I've shied away from doing these sort of competitive, deck building and like playing the game and doing recordings that way. But I feel like I'm definitely capable. And another Passimian, nice, very cool. And so I'd love to do that, and I will be. I'm gonna just be done being too hesitant to try it. I definitely feel like it would be a lot of fun, and I would like to look at not just decks that are super dominant in the meta, but also decks that are roguey, decks that like you could play, decks that could be fun, um, because I don't think we should strive to be having a game where there's like every time a new expansion comes out, we play like 2 or 3 decks out of it, and then like and use like 5 of the cards from that expansion, and then the rest just get tossed to the side. There's fun things you can do with a lot of these cards, and I feel like sometimes the Pokemon meta stifles itself a little too much. It gets in its head, these are the ones that are going to be good, and then guess what? If 25% of the player base are going to be playing a specific deck at the tournament, the odds of one of them going the distance versus somebody who's playing, one deck that nobody else is playing in the tournament are a lot higher, right? Just because there is the one player playing that deck. And yeah, I mean, some decks are just superior, but some decks could be better than I think they may be given credit for. Anyway, one last card. Nothing really spectacular out of this pack. I like that healing. But away we go. It's grab locked. Right on. Well, hey, this is a great part 1, and I'm sure there's only more amazing things to come in part 2. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all again for another edition of Live from Lavender Town. Take it easy, y'all.